the actual facts of what really
of course.
happened,
Yes,
you know.
on
I
the
mean,
island, yeah.
it happened on the island.
Everyday life
Yeah.
on it, yeah.
But anyway, the present Lordy, as I call him, Rupert Baring. He was Rupert Baring, then he was transferred to the Right Honourable Lord Revelstoke, you see, through the father.
He got it, yeah.
But anyway, she come along. And she did pass me and say, oh, she says, you're the boy that looks, you're the man, she said, that looks after you're the man that was looking after the old man. I said, yes, my lady. Do you know everything about the house? I said, I do. So I'm here since over 3 years. I said, I should know something about the house. So I have to do all the fires. I said, I clean all the silver. I put it away. I know where everything is, all the napkins and everything for the tables to be laid out for the dinners. And I knew where everything was. I could show her. She didn't know fuck all. Because I don't think she had to wipe her own fucking hair. Somebody had to wipe it for her. I was looking, I can get the job.
Go ahead, Willie.
But anyway...
Well, that was Willie said. I think you should have said for posterior.
Yeah. Or stern.
Or stern,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
or
there's
tail end. She was there about a week. And she come to me one day, she says, you have the key, she said, at the locker down below where all the drinking thing is. I said, yes, I have. Why? I said, oh, she said, there's something his lordship wants out of it, Willie, she says. And he told me to ask you to get the keys off you, and I want to get it out and bring it up and put it in the room. Naturally, to respect. I mean, he could have anything there as far as I was concerned. I mean, I understood he had a key at that place too, but he hadn't. I was the only one that had. I had 2 keys belonging to us on the hanger, you see.
Right, yeah.
And I thought, Lord, but the old man never had a key because anytime he never even went into it. He always asked me what's wanted and what's not wanted because I had to do all that before the summer come in, before the crowds would be coming, you know.
Stock up.
Stock up before the winter, you see. Stock up for the summer.
Taking
and
stores aboard.
The stores aboard, yeah.
Right, yeah,
exactly.
right now,
for the long voyage. The long voyage home.
Oh, that's correct, yeah.
Now, I gave her the keys. She hummed and she thought, yes, I'll take them off you now, she says. But she wasn't going to take them, you know. This is, where I have time to go down now and do it. She said, I'm busy at the moment. So I gave her the keys anyway. 2 days after, she come back. She said, I'm sorry. She said, I had the keys in my pocket. I completely forgot to give them to you. Kathleen Cashman, the cook, said to me, Willie, she says, did you give her the keys to the lock up below? So she told me there was lordship wanted them, something down there belonging to them that she wanted brought up to the room. Well, you know what she said she got off me? Do you know these fucking big bars of soap that lent to us?
Yeah,
the big block that you cut so much off.
Yeah, and the sunlight. The big
she said she'd
yeah.
come in here and she wanted this piece of soap because she was going to do, I don't know, Kathleen said, but you see, I know now what she was doing. Because she brought a piece of it back and there was that gap cut off the fucking tape, Austin. Sawed out with a hacksaw. Kathleen said. She was sending away an impression of the fucking key in soap to Holt to get one made. She was a fucking alcoholic. And will I tell you though, I didn't take no notice. I didn't know she was an alcoholic. I mean, a woman could be, you know yourself what women are. Sure, the woman could take a drink. But this fucking bottle, I watched her.
But at least she had her little finger out when she was doing it.
She had.
And that
was the whole show.
That was a joke.
But by Jesus, I'm telling you what, I got learned the right lesson. Now, that was okay. Lordy said to me, Willie says, how's the storeroom down there? Well, says, I'm going to tell you this, my lord. So I don't drink. And I said, I never carry a bottle up that stairway unless it's wanted for, I said that, for the house, I said.
The table, the house, yeah.
The house using the table. But I said, there's a lot of it missing, I said lately. He said, I was thinking there was something queer going on. She was drunk all the fucking time. But she was cleaning it out. She got a key made. He found out after. I wasn't going to fall off the shit. I told him straight, me good man, I said, I'm sorry to say, but I think Our Ladyship, I said, is drinking.
All right.
Because I said, I tell you what I saw her doing one day. She was going around with an empty bottle and she was hiding it. And she was going away to put it in the fucking bin, in the, what do you call it, bin, in the coal, down the coal room.
Right.
I'm telling you, I seen her. Because Kathleen told me definitely, she got the bar of soap and she cut so much depth off the soap. Now the soap was, you know, the square is one of them mugs.
The big
And there was
yeah.
a big piece cut off
Yeah.
and it was sawed up with a saw
Yeah.
knife or a hacksaw.
Yeah.
Kathleen showed it to me.
Full of soda.
And she this fucking thing, yes, full of soda. So it's a white.
Yeah.
Kathleen says, Willie, she says she was getting, I wouldn't be thinking, she was getting impression fucking team out of it.
Yeah.
And it was sent to Holt, and she got it back in 4 or 5 days' time, the key, and she could win what she felt like and get whatever she wanted. Because there was about 20 bottles missing and stuff within a fortnight.
Then
Okay,
you say it was sent to Holt, Willie. The Shamrock used to go to Holt at that
We
time.
used to go to Holt.
Yeah, so this is how
Yeah.
Holt was the
Holt
supplier.
You see, well, of
Yeah.
course, there was butter going to Holt at least
Finlayers,
2
of
days a
course,
week
up
or
there,
3
yeah.
days a week. In the summertime was 3 days a week. Winter time was 2 days a week. You know what I mean? Because it was more. You see, in the summer.
Yeah.
And that's right. That's the way it was. And it was all Finlayers. And she'd no bother. Only sent it to a certain place. It was delivered, and it was back the next day for her.
Yeah.
See, Neddy was doing Neddy Harford was doing all the work. Remember Neddy?
Yeah, and Chipper.
And Tipper.
And Chipper.
And
yeah.
Joe Conley.
And Joe Conley.
Yeah.
That was the
Do you
three
remember
of
Jack
them.
Ructions?
No, I heard
The
stories
engineer,
about it.
poor
though.
Jack.
I heard stories.
Yeah,
Fraggy used to be telling me about
And
him.
poor old Jack.
Was it him that drank the spirits out of
Yeah.
the compass?
Yeah, out of the fucking compass. That's right.
Yeah.
He was that drunk.
Yeah.
Go mad for a cure, and he put the compass on his head and drank it. Jesus, Jack was a man. And Jack was only a little small fella. Christ
Yeah, I
almighty.
heard a lot of stories
Jesus,
about him.
Jack
Yeah.
was a hard taking down.
Yeah.
He got married to a lassie above us in Holt. I was up at it 3 or 4 times with him. He brought me up the back of a fucking motorbike. And I come home and say, Willie, come on up, let's show you this man of mine. He fucking back of a motorbike to Holt. And he brought me home with the two of us thrown up the back of her. And I used to get a fucking big scarf and put it around me, get it around his and tie it here behind me, kiss and fall out. You thought someone was behind you pulling you out the fucking bike. You know, with this motorbike and you're coming down, you think there was some fella pulling you off, and I up and thought I'd fall off after me.
Yeah.
After coming out of the Rockabill or somewhere, mother of Jesus. Oh, don't talk about that time.
So
And
these
I
were
was,
the lads that were on the boats. These were the fellas.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I was well gotten. I knew a good lot of lads in Hope because I'd done a few relief jobs in the Guinness boats, and Val Moore's father, Neddy Harford's son, Jerry McLaughlin, all the McLaughlins now, they were all in the Guinness boats.
Oh,
And I'd done a few trips on them, you see, and I was well known in Holt.
Yeah.
And I never had to put my hand in Holt for to buy a drink.
Yeah.
Give Willie a drink there, just he drinking a pint. Oh, Christ, yes, I was well got in Holt. I used to go to Rockabill nearly all the time, innit? And Ructions was well known in Holt. And Rosie used to bring me up for me dinner up to this mart. Oh, Jesus Christ, for you sinner, it's a fucking itinerant. Itinerant. Oh, Christ, she was a real itinerant. And she talked like them and all. Oh, real hard case.
But he was happy.
But he was happy, yeah.
happy,
But
yeah.
he was a good old sport though.
I heard
Jesus,
he
he
was
was the
some
greatest
kind,
sport.
yeah.
Oh, God, he was
Yeah.
a great sport though.
Yeah.
You could listen to him for hours,
Yeah.
and he'd be telling all the different yarns of all the different lads he was with. But he was a great engineer. But Jesus, he'd take an engine down and he'd put her back in an hour. Any type of engine.
Yeah.
Now you know them what he calls. And
Gardeners
Simon,
and those, yeah.
you know fuck all about engines. He'd be telling Simon about what he was at. You know fuck all about an engine, Simon said you.
Yeah.
You'd fucking too much drink and you know what you be doing about an engine. I had to go over and finish her myself, Simon. Oh Christ, they used to be gas.
But that was the
But
that was the Shamrock.
they used to be good sport
That was
though.
the Shamrock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then Neddy died and Tipper died and Joe Conley died. And then Basil Leonard took her over then and
the Leonard family.
and the Leonard family all
Now,
took
yeah.
her over.
Yeah.
Now Jimmy bought her.
Jimmy bought her,
Jimmy
yeah.
told me he bought
There's
her.
only 2 crewmen on her now.
Was that all awesome?
Yeah, I think that's all there was on her the son that we went over.
Aye, there would be, yeah.
Yeah, and
So
Yeah.
so the Rebel Stokes, they would just pay for the service
That's right.
rather than have the
Somewhat-
upkeep of the boat
after
and all the rest. of it.
after Lord Revelstoke died and probably the estate was
Yeah.
altered and things like that,
Yeah.
the boat was sold and
That's
the
right.
Leonard brothers bought it.
Yeah.
And they are guaranteed from the island
Yeah.
so many trips a year.
A year.
Right.
And this is how the island there was no responsibility
No, none whatsoever.
of the looking after the
That's
boat.
correct.
And
right.
so, but the Leonard
Yeah.
boys are guaranteed.
Oh yeah, they're guaranteed.
Yeah, and then anything in between,
Yeah.
they are paid.
Yeah.
If they to do extra runs.
Yeah.
Well, that wouldn't have been the same boat now, Willie, that you would have gone across
No,
in when
there
you...
was a second Shamrock.
Second one, yeah.
There was
an
the second,
earlier.
that one was the one that was there now. I was on one of the real old Shamrocks.
Were you?
Yeah, but this was a new Shamrock. It was built specially in Arklow for the job.
Churls of Arklow.
Churls of Arklow
That's
built it.
correct, yeah.
Now I forget where the other one was built out in Austin. I forget where it was bought.
I wouldn't know, you know.
But I think I'm really sure it was built in Churls
Probably
as well.
Churls as
Because
well,
they were
yeah.
had to be specially built for carrying cattle. And there was a drop side door on them
Right, yeah.
that you could lift up. And then there was
ramp.
a ramp and all specially made that you could lower down in for the,
So
for the
she
cattle going
brought
about.
about 12 headed cattle.
Yeah, but sure, I
think
went a
over
couple of
to the
times. I
island,
went
yeah.
a couple of times with the herd to Ball's Bridge. We used to go up. We used to have 10 bulls for show use. Now this is show use in Ball's Bridge, and we used to have about 20 heifers. Well, they were only young. They were only yearlings, you see, like for show use, and they were brought up. And them that got good prizes were brought back, and them that didn't do real well, they were sold. You know, like you done so many every year, but they were all Aberdeen Angus, all black Aberdeen Angus. And the milk and cows was on it all the same to you, black Aberdeen Angus, wouldn't have nothing else, the old man. And after the old man died, it was changed, it was all class, there was lads bought with Hornsby, jeez, it wouldn't have been that window. Different types brought to it. And some of them fucking died, wouldn't live on Lambay, wherever they come from.
Yes.
Yeah, wherever they come from.
There weren't the conditions on the island, because it
conditions
is a
of the
fairly
island.
windswept island.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but whatever class of feeding was on the island didn't suit them.
Didn't
They
suit them.
scoured and
Right,
killed them.
and died.
Died,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you see now, when I went to the island first, they grew their own turnips, their own mangle, their own grain, and all their own vegetables. And there was glass houses and everything on Lambay where they grew their own tomatoes, cucumbers, everything was grown on Lambay. They had all that there. But whenever they got these cattle, now you see they only grew a certain amount of hay the latter years because they had a dose of ponies on it there for a while, Austin, and mostly sheep. They had to do away with the cattle because whatever breed that they started to mix, they started to scour, and they lived no time on it. And you had to get clear. And you see, they don't do no milking or nothing there now, or like years ago, the time we was on it.
How many people would you think, now going back to your very early days, sir, would you say inhabited the
I'll
island?
tell you, there was only, when I went to Lambay first, I'm counting the people that was on Lambay when I went to it. There was
Working
22 people altogether. Now there was Mr. Campbell and his wife, and he had 2 daughters, and there was 4 sons. Now 2 of them went to sea. George, Arthur was a wireless operator, and George was a skipper. And the last I was talking to George, he's down here, he's now Tug below in Belfast.
Right.
But he had a ticket, you see, he had a ticket for the Belfast. But, and then there was Arthur Campbell, and then there was Stephen Campbell, and they were all, Mr. Campbell was the, what do you call it? He was the man,
Steward.
the steward, he was the steward on it.
Yeah.
And when Campbell left it, there was a Mr. Boyd. Did you know Boyd?
No,
You often
I
heard tell
heard
him.
him. Yeah,
Mr.
heard
Boyd
him,
was
yeah,
steward on.
yeah.
I was there the last
Yeah.
when Boyd come to
Yeah.
it, but I wasn't that long with Boyd. But Campbell was there for a good many years. Well, all the time he was there, he grew grain, oats, wheat and barley, turnips,
Potato.
mangles, potato. Oh yeah, everything was growing.
Yeah, the early
But
potatoes,
then
first
when-
early potatoes came from there.
That's correct.
I used to see them coming
That's
over
right,
in the back
Austin.
of
The frost
basket,
never got
yeah.
them. The frost never fell on Lambay.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and they came over
They
to
came
Rush
over to
and then
Rush.
to the market.
That's correct.
Yeah, and the rabbits, the whole
And the
lot.
rabbits, everything come off it. That's
yeah.
true. But the rabbits and stuff, all, and there was a lot of the deers that we shot and killed were just thrown in boxes and sent to the zoo as well. Because I often said, what the goddamn would they be going to? And Harry used to say, I'm going to chop the fucking antlers off that lad, or a right pair of antlers on him. I'm going to take the antlers off that lad and get them, put them on a board.
Yeah.
And they were going to the zoo.
There must have been, if there was that amount of people, there's quite a few buildings, apart from the main house. there would have been quite a lot of buildings. But where were they situated, the houses that the workers occupied? All dotted around or in one area?
No.
See, there's a
There was a
castle
big
on it.
There's a castle. There's a big
lovely
castle
castle
on
there, and it's surrounded by a
It's
wall,
surrounded by a
and
wall.
a woodland,
a woodland.
a small woodland. And then down at the coast, down at the sea,
Coming down for the
the
harbour.
harbour is all the
There's a
living
body of
houses.
houses. There's,
Yeah.
what did I say, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I think there's 10 cottages all in a straight line.
On one side, or
On this side, there's nothing
Only on
on
one
the
side.
far side.
There's
Far
nothing on the
side
back
is
of the
a bird
island.
sanctuary.
It's a bird
It's
sanctuary.
rocky, you can't
and these are
live
just
on it.
like a little roadway, and these houses are just
Yeah.
lined.
It's all
You
just
can
cement.
see them here from
Little
the
white,
coast.
they're white buildings.
All
showing up
white,
white.
yeah, and
But then there's a
spotless.
big,
Yes, they
as
look
you
lovely.
Yeah.
coming for the harbour then, down for the harbour, there's a big squash racket court there.
That's right, I've
There's
seen
a big
that.
squash
yeah.
racket court there.
Yeah,
and that.
in
Yeah.
along there.
Well, then in the back of the squash racket court, there was a house, there was two guest houses built. One for,
Pollard.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mr. Pollard.
Mr. Pollard, yeah.
Yeah. That was Daphne Pollard.
Yeah.
He was the Catholic, he was the sculptor.
Yeah.
And the other fella, there was two of them built their house. And, or
Yeah.
there was one great big house, but it was a sort of built
Yeah.
like two areas.
Correct, yeah.
And the other daughter,
Yeah.
Reverend Stokes' daughter, had one each.
One,
They
that's
each
correct.
had.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the lads was on. That's how Brenton Dunn was on at that time. They were doing this building,
No, they won't, yeah.
and there was. Well, I tell you, there was some crowd on at that time. There was little John Duff down there done a bit. You know Willie Duff is scary. You
Yeah.
know Alfred Duff.
Yeah.
They're grandfather.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a now lad there. Do you know the stone cutter that was up? That was done at the grave there? Do you know? Did you see? Did you read the writing that's above it? The Lord Reverstokes' grave and Lady Reverstokes'
Yes,
grave.
on
You
the
read
wall
it?
there, yeah.
Well, I was there when Owl what's his name was?
Wasn't Delaney?
No. Jack Delaney was on it too. I knew Jack.
Yeah. He was
Dick Dollahide.
Oh, never
He was
yeah.
He was a stone cutter.
Yeah.
And he done all the writing on Lambay.
Lambay,
And he
yeah.
cut all them stones to build around the, what do you call it, that time, around the memorial.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
he done all that work. I was there when he was doing it, Austin, that time. And that was way back in 1929, 1930.
Yeah.
Because I left Lambay in 1931 and done a year away and was home. For the Eucharistic Congress in 1932, I was home for a week or a fortnight during that time. I'll never forget that.
Brendan,
And my father and mother was working in Lambay, and Brenton Dunn and them lads were on at that time.
that's right. Brendan Dunn might tell you sometime, as he told us, about the time that in building there, they came across the remains, the skeletons,
Oh,
and these would have been of the
They were
poor
of the
people that
tailor.
drowned, the tailor, the
tailor.
sailing ship, the tailor,
Sure, I seen
which
this.
went aground at the back of the
That's
island,
That's right.
Yes.
with
I
great loss of life.
Yeah. Oh,
Great
she was a
loss.
big loss of life.
Yeah.
But she was had to leave in Liverpool and they were all drunk on her. Just everyone was drunk about that one. And a bloody big nigger swam ashore on that one.
Yeah.
Swam
that's
ashore
right.
with a rope round him and put it around a big rock.
Yeah.
And every one of them people would be saved that could swing onto that rope, like. But when he put the rope there, too many got on the rope. There was no one to control them.
So he went
The
up
rope-
he went up then
Yeah.
to one of the houses.
Yeah.
And it was probably dark.
Yeah.
And he knocked at the door
Yeah.
looking for help.
Yeah.
And the woman of the house opened the door and she slammed the door on his face.
Yeah, because he was
Because she
coloured.
never seen
He
a
was a
coloured
black
man
Never
in
seen
her
a
life.
coloured man in her life. Didn't know what a black man was. She didn't do it. So he was the devil, I suppose, go to swim.
Yeah. Well, now the Tail Euro Willie was the first iron ship
She was the first time.
out of Liverpool.
That's correct. Yeah.
And she was heading for Australia.
She was on her way to Aussie.
Yeah. Now, you know, when we were at sea, when you come out of dry dock,
Yeah.
you went out into the harbour
True,
and
true,
you done so many turns,
You've done so many
and
circles.
the compass had to be
Yeah.
set.
You had to adjust your compass every time
Yeah,
you leave port.
for the
Because
magnetic
you're into the different things you see
yeah,
underneath
yeah.
bridges and
Bridges,
that.
and the steel of the ship
and the steel of the
itself.
ship itself, you see.
Yeah.
Sure, if you go put a knife in your pocket, your sheath knife or anything, because you see the compass
The
flying around
compass,
when you
yeah.
pass by
That's
it.
why the Hughes weren't
Yeah.
allowed wear the
Oh,
knife.
no, we couldn't
Yeah.
carry our sheath knife.
Yeah.
You always had to leave your sheath knife down the
You weren't
galley.
allowed, it might adjust the compass.
Oh, yeah, you couldn't wear
But
it.
with the modern ships, you
Gyro.
see, you had the electric compass,
That's right,
gyro,
it's different.
and you
Yeah.
wouldn't alter that. That was
No.
away down the bottom of the
Yeah.
ship, spinning
Yeah,
at
that's right.
thousands of revs a minute,
Yeah.
and that was your true
Yeah,
reading.
that was your true reading.
And then you had your magnetic
Magnetic compass then as
and
well.
on the chalked on
Yeah.
the board was
Yeah.
what the magnetic compass would be, 4 degrees
Yeah.
or whatever.
So many.
You'd know more
Yeah.
about that,
Oh,
Willie,
yeah.
'cause
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't know
All
what.
the
I wouldn't know
different
how to read a
degrees.
compass, you know.
No, I know.
Yeah, also the tail year, Willie. If I remember hearing a paper about it, I think the wind was southeast.
Southeast. That's
So
what you were last
therefore,
time.
if she was heading for Australia, which wouldn't have been new, she was actually going north about.
Yeah, exactly. That's
So
what he
to
was going
to
to.
get
Dawson.
away down to
He was going away through
he
the
couldn't
North
go,
Channel.
he couldn't go down the channel, so he was going up around and out into the
Yeah,
Atlantic.
yeah.
So in other words, in sailing ships, you would be going out of your way
Yeah.
to get to your destination,
Destination.
which wouldn't have been wouldn't be present day. No, you just go through it.
Oh, yeah. Different.
Yeah.
Was this compass, they'd not been set in the fact that it was a new
I'd say it.
technology with
you
steel
know,
hull?
I'd say it. Yeah, the
It
steel
caused
hull.
problems.
Yes.
It
And
caused
of course,
yeah.
it was unfortunate too that the weather was so bad that it was
Yes,
driven.
snowstorm.
There was a gale of southeast wind.
Yeah, and the crewmen
Yeah.
was mostly Lascars.
Yeah, mostly.
Yeah, and they said they couldn't understand English and all like that. But I'd say most of it was compass.
Sambo Fury. Anthony Fury was on at the time she was lost. Owl Anthony. Remember Sambo?
No,
Did you know
I
Sambo?
didn't know Sambo. No.
No, well, I knew Owl Anthony was on it.
Didn't know. No.
Owl Anthony was on it when I used to go over to visit my grandfather. When I used to go over to cook in the summer, Owl Anthony was there.
Oh,
and
sorry,
he was-
on Lambay.
On Lambay.
On Lambay. No, I didn't
And
know.
he was there 50 years on Lambay, he done it. He never woke nowhere else, only Lambay,
Lambay.
until he died at Austin.
Now you were saying earlier about a trapper that was on it.
Yeah.
Was Joe Monks also a trapper? Did you remember Joe Monks
Joe
on
Monks,
the
the
Channel
Channel
Road?
Yes, Joe Monks was on it for a while, doing, I don't know I don't know what, was he a qualified trapper, but he was on it one time. Bob Mason seemingly was sick. Bob Mason was the actual trapper. Bob Mason was the
yeah.
real trapper,
Yeah.
and I don't know, but Joe, what do you call him, was over there
Joe
helping
Monks.
him at one time.
Maybe, yeah.
I think he was over there helping him one time,
yeah.
or they had Bob and accident,
And Joe took
and Joe
over.
took over.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
forget. I remember them talking about it. And Bob Mason was telling me himself about
Yeah.
it.
Just that all as I heard was
Yeah.
that Joe was a trapper on it.
But he
Other
couldn't-
than that,
yeah,
I didn't
he
know.
was something on it anyway. Something to do with that end of it, right? No.
Yeah.
My grandfather told me something about that
Yeah.
because I knew. Sure, I went to school with Fran Monks, the son of his.
Ah, yes.
I
yeah.
went to school with a
Yeah.
son of his.
Son of his, yeah.
See, awesome.
Yeah.
Fran, I think was his name.
Yeah.
I did.
You heard of these names, Austin, from
Yes,
stories
from
and people
stories
talk.
and living around the area. But unfortunately, like everything else, you weren't interested and you didn't take in enough. Now
you
you're
wasn't taking
sorry.
enough of stock.
You didn't
See.
record it, you know, or you didn't.
Well, you never
take
think
it
of
in.
recording it anymore
Yeah, 'cause
because you never saw nothing only there as far as your hand.
Yeah.
You see,
That's
and,
what I'm
and I often said years ago, oh Jesus, in a couple of years' time, I won't even remember I was on land. But you know what I mean? Because there's times I can think great, and I'd have to have Austin here. Now, as I said, if I had Austin here, he's able to give me an odd boost, you see,
Yeah.
because I'm got a bit forgetful, which I suppose I have to be.
All right.
I had a cancer growth
Yeah.
removed out of my head here about 6 or 7 years ago. My hearing is not what you call great, but however, I'm doing all right.
You're
You
doing
certainly
it.
are. You
But
certainly are.
as the fella says, if someone can talk with me, you know, like I'm okay. It comes back to me gradually, you know.
Yeah.
Sure, I'm okay when I'm with Brent and you. Brent, we still remember Willie who was on land. But of course, you can remember then
Yeah,
great.
Brendan's a
And I can used to get to
character,
tell all the
yeah.
different lads that was on it.
Yeah.
The Rushman. There was Bartle Harford. There was Bobby Wade. There was Kit Lamb, John Lamb, Pat Lamb,
Right. Yeah.
and Willie Lamb.
Yeah. And Cosgrove.
There was Pat Cosgrove, there was Charlie Cahan, there was Dixie Cahan, there was Tommy Donnelly,
Johnny Clark.
there was Johnny Clark, there was Brenton Dunn, Tuss Langan, Jim Leonard. Oh Christ, there's just many more. If I think, I'd want me little.
Yeah, actually, yes. Well, over the years.
Over the years, you see.
Yeah.
And can you remember, like nowadays, of course, we have television and we sit down, but on the island, what did you do at night?
There was
Were you
no
still
television.
working? You were still
Well,
working at night, or you
when
went
I,
duty?
no, when I after I served me, after I done me, I think it was something around 8 or 9 months. I done it the old milking and that. I used to have to go up with the herd of the cows were calving at that, you know. And I'd be up every morning. I was up in the yard at 6 o'clock, And then every evening we had to take the cows in at 3 and milk them 40 again. Well, it would be 6 or 7 o'clock that night when you were finished, because you had to separate your milk that night. And maybe because you'd have to churn that night if the boat was coming early in the morning. But the time you get milked, separate your milk and all, you had to have the butter ready for the boat. It's all according to what way the tides were, you see. Because you had to walk Lambay. Lambay was the tide went out in 2, you know, like same as here.
Yeah.
And you had to walk the tides. Because maybe he'd be down from Holt, but still he'd have to come in on the punt into Lambay and bring the... You see, that's the way it was. They had to walk on the tides.
So you could have been walking all hours.
I was walking until 10 o'clock at night, Austin.
But now how about the likes of Brendan Dunn and the
I
builders?
know, they were all finished every evening at 6
What would they do
o'clock.
in the evening?
Well, there was a billiard table. There was 2 billiard tables, 2 full-size billiard tables, a recreation room. There was darts, there was rings, and there was all classic games.
Yeah.
And there was a bloody big fire way up there, Austin. And we used to have a dance every Wednesday night. And by that time, there was a few women on it, all right.
Yeah.
And when the rebel stuck with there, he had about 20 servants, like women. Well, he had to have chambermaids and housemaids and all them, you know, young ones. Mostly all Irish girls were working with him in London, because I was over in London with him. And there was nearly all Kerry girls there was in it. So, Jesus, I slept with more women over there than enough. They used to be fighting with me to fucking sleep with me.
Now, Willie.
Willie's modest.
I very,
Isn't he
very.
very
He
modest?
is
No,
very
but
modest.
they were all young.
Yeah.
But, Jesus, I didn't know what I had it for.
Yeah.
Do you know what I used to think? I remember my mother having the last child, my brother, and I heard her saying, "Mother, God, your father got him down there under a fucking stalk or something."
Which was the thing
It just goes to fucking tell you
It
what you
was.
know. And I was 14 or 15 at this time nearly, and I didn't know any fucking better. An animal, yes, I knew all about an animal could have a calf or a coo or
Yeah,
a
but you didn't.
I didn't know any about a human being. I didn't. Where would I learn it? I never learned nothing going to school, as I say. There was no such thing as sex.
And you were innocent too.
You honestly knew you had your Mickey for doing your wee-wee, but that's all you knew you had it for. Jesus Christ.
Good job this has been centred.
Have your drink. Put your drink there.
Yeah.
But so, and this is the interesting part, because this is where something Austin knows something about, you know, his own experiences at sea.
Oh, yeah.
So when you then went to the Royal Navy.
From Lambay, was it?
From
Willie?
Lambay.
I left Lambay. And I fell in with Danny McCann. Danny McGann was the first one I met when I left. Now, my mother worked on Lambay.
Yeah.
My father was on Lambay.
Yeah.
Thomas and Jarl and Jason was on Lambay.
Yeah.
They were only young.
Yeah.
I fell in with Danny McGann and said to Danny, "Say, any chance of a job anywhere?" He said, "Do you want a job, Willie?" Jesus says, "Oh, yes." Jesus, he says, "Come on up," he says. "The broom," he says, "is above here in Dublin," he says. The broom. There was the elder, the broom, and the bamboo. There was 3 of them. Fisher Signori.
Ah, yeah.
Little small ones.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ Almighty. I'd be afraid to get in to cross the road in her now at the moment. It'd be that small.
Yeah.
What, about 400 ton or 500 ton she was. A little steamboat. And I went up anyway. And there was 2 of them. The bamboo and the broom was there. And James he visited. That's Andy's father was with McGann. You see. He says, "Hey, where's the fucking job for me?" He says, "There she's there, the sister ship." And we said, "We're going to Whitehaven."
Cold.
Whitehaven for coal this time.
Nice.
And we're coming back to Drogheda, the 2 of them. Now he says, "You come with me and let Jamesy." Now, Danny was my uncle. My mother and Danny's wife was 2 sisters. McGann.
Yeah,
Danny's
I
son.
remember that. Yeah.
Were 2 sisters. And of course he was my uncle. And he says, "You come with me and I'll learn you how to fire up." And he says, "Let James," he says, "go in the other one in your place, because he says, when you get over there, you can join up in the other one." He said, "I'm only bringing you to learn you how to fire." See, Jesus, I went away with McGann. Fire. I had her on the fucking red all the time, the fucking chief engineer, the fucking mother, which is to burst the fucking boilers. I had her blowing off the whole way over. He stopped with me the whole way over. 7 hours across,
Right.
doing about 12 knots,
Yeah.
over to Whitehaven. Loaded there for Drogheda. I was sent to the other one. The lad that I went down to the other one, he come aboard and he fucking drunk. And I'm taking over with this other stranger I never seen in my fucking life. James, you busy come back to where I was at, bringing the other one over. McGann took me to show me how to fire, you see.
All right, yeah.
Not to be shoveling all the coal, it's the sprinkler. He said, you showed me how to clean a fire and all.
Right.
I said, I know, but I used to hear my father talking about fire and that.
Yeah.
Only I never had no experience. Only an old fucking boiler, all right. But be Jesus anyway, this fella comes down and he's fucking drunk. He said, you're the new fireman. He says, I am new, all right. And says, I am fucking new at the fire. And I said, I don't know much about it. He says, you're the manager, all right. He said, I'll take the first couple of hours below, he says, and I'll be down to you then, he says. But Jesus was at the bar of fucking Drawden and he still wasn't to be fucking seen at the front of the whole fucking way over. And the fucking engineer nearly blowing out every few minutes. For Jesus' sake, cut that fucking steam down. He says, we'll bust the fucking boilers. She's blowing off all the time. Well, I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know how to control her.
Yeah.
Austin. Because I was sprinkling her all the time and feeding her good, you know.
Yeah.
I wasn't building her up high, sprinkling her, and she was reddening up all the
What you
time.
were actually doing, Willie, was when the boilers were, the safety valves were lifting, you were wasting the water.
I was wasting the water.
Because
Now
there's the one water that's used on the ship all the time.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
water is very precious on
Water
this
is
ship.
precious aboard a steamship.
So,
Because it's not every port you can get water in.
Yeah.
This is the problem. But I didn't know at the time. You see, I didn't know what
when the
I felt
water
it
goes in and is turned to steam in the boiler,
Yeah.
it then goes into the engine,
That's right.
drives the engine, and then it goes into a condenser and it's turned back to water,
Water again.
and it's put back into the boiler again.
That's
it's
right.
a continuous cycle.
Continuous cycle.
But a waste of water.
A waste of water
it's,
blowing
it's,
off.
it's a crime.
See,
it's,
I
you
didn't
know.
understand.